r/AskReddit. People who live in a tropical paradise that folks often daydream about. What are some things about living in this climate year-round that aren't so dreamy? Power going out all the time despite the $1,000 plus you pay for utilities in a home only two people live in. Your appliances burning out and needing to be replaced due to the frequent power surges. The groceries and gas being extremely expensive. Just the general high cost of living. Jesus, for $1,000 per month, I'd be looking into getting some sort of off-grid system. That's insane. A lot of the more well-off people definitely do that. Too big of an initial investment for most though. Bullshit. I saw a documentary where a guy built like a TV, a fridge, a bowling alley, and some other shite all out of coconuts and bamboo, so, stop slacking. Mosquitoes. When winter rolls out around here in Norway, I always enjoy the mass death of insects. No more bees, mosquitoes or other insects. Except for some birds, everything else is dead outside, and there are no insects to annoy me, in or out. The omnipresent mold that looves humidity. I'm from Malaysia, and during the pandemic, all shopping centers are closed. What followed was when they reopened, something like 2 months later, was horrific. When they reopened, mold was discovered all over cinema seats and mold creeping over luxury leather goods. I love Malaysia a lot, but as far as weather goes, I'm quite glad I don't have to deal with the humidity anymore. I also don't have to deal with ants in my pantry as much. It's hot. I am not talking about your garden variety kind of hot, I am talking about a searing, humid miasma of what it must feel like inside the mouth of a dog. It's awful. I live in California, where it regularly gets hotter than 110 Fahrenheit or 43 Celsius. It sucks even worse when you live inland in an urban area, so the real temperature is actually 15 degrees hotter. It's only a tropical paradise half the year. The other half is unbearably hot, humid, and rainy. The cost of living is insanely high due to limited space, a lot of homes being bought as vacation homes, and everything needing to be imported. Traffic's FKN awful because it's a small island with a moderate population but tons of tourists. The pandemic has done wonderful things for traffic but decimated our economy. Salt air from the ocean makes any metal rust incredibly quickly, so if you scratch your car you have to get it fixed right away. The chain on our garage door opener also has to be replaced more often than usual. And, yeah, lots of bugs. ETA, homelessness. So many homeless. Partially because of cost of living and partially because people will literally choose to fly here from the mainland and live on the streets because it's easier and marginally safer to be homeless here than elsewhere. I used to live in a place like that. I worked on a farm, so I was outside in the sun for 40 hours a week. The last thing I wanted to do with my roommates after work or on weekends was go to the beach. I talked to my boss about it and he said he hadn't been to the beach in 10 years, on an island where you're never 2 miles from the water. You are in a constant state of being between damp from sweat and wet from rain. It's uncomfortable, and you cannot get away from it unless you are showering, swimming, or are wealthy enough to afford powerful aircon. You are tired all the time because you can't sleep. Your clothes are always stained and literally rot off you from being constantly saturated in acids that are contained in your sweat. How's that for a start? Where? Northern Queensland, Australia. I'm in Sydney. It's starting to look a lot like paradise at this stage. Giant cockroaches lol? Giant flying cockroaches? That can't fly when it rains, so they settle all over the road and in your house. Nothing like being unable to sleep because you can hear cockroaches rummaging around in a trash can. Some days the heat shall be unbearable and you'll be all sweaty and sticky. Not from there, but I have a friend that lived a huge part of her life in the Seychelles, and she told me that a friend of her died from a shark attack. So, even though she loves sharks, she told me that it is highly irresponsible for surfers to go past the coral reef since sharks are really common and dangerous. On land, you find large wasps and cockroaches and a lot of mosquitoes. Seychelles, dang. In my mind that's like a top 3 tropical spot, maybe behind the Maldives. Where do they live now? Now we study in the same school in France. A bit safer in terms of bloodthirsty animals. I live in Hawaii. While it's so beautiful here, it is also very easy to stop seeing it. You get focused on your daily life and stop taking advantage of the things that tourists come here to do. It's also hard because my friends are total homebodies and I prefer doing things outdoors with other people. My family was stationed in Hawaii for several years when I was elementary age. It was definitely beautiful, but our family really missed the beauty of changing seasons. The first year back in the contiguous US was incredible. When you look beneath the surface, you'll see everything is built cheap and flimsy because it doesn't have to withstand winter weather. People don't have their shite together for the same reasons too. No sense of self-sufficiency because you can be outside indefinitely and nothing bad will happen to you. People in cold climates, hoarding firewood before winter comes, people in hot climates, hoarding bug nets. My friend retired in Curacao, the unemployment rate is 20%, bands of thieves roam the area and the roads are bad. Due to the poor grid, few have AC. I used to live in a picturesque Caribbean island when I was a bit younger. It had all you can dream for, beautiful white sand beaches, turquoise blue water, water cleaner, fresher and purer than you could ask for. Water brimming with sea life, majestic turtles and stingrays would grace your casual swim. Seafood was extremely cheap and fresher than anything most people have ever had. It had perfect air quality and the weather was amazing. However, growing up there didn't provide you with a drive to want to do anything in life. The island was owned the UK, so it always had external money protecting the economy. Only after leaving did I realize how cocooned people were from reality and the harshness of life. You become so lazy and relaxed that it took me a long while to get adjusted to city life. The island had one school and it was pretty shitty, teachers didn't really care and students were eventually gonna become a bartender or a fisherman or some pretty basic occupation, so why worry about algebra class? Living on that island was dreamy, but you develop an extremely lazy and relaxed outlook on life. Nothing is ever worth aspiring for because life is pretty good now. Lived on an island in Thailand for a while. It just gets really sticky all the time. Sometimes it feels like nothing ever fully dries. And of course technology and infrastructure are way behind mainland standards. Loved it anyway.